Witch in Charm's Way, a cozy mystery audiobook, written and narrated by R.K. Dreaming. Part 17. Beachbum nodded. Couldn't not hear what happened to Lily. Is the only thing they're talking about on the beach today. You found her, I heard? I nodded. He shook his head sadly. That poor kid. Was it true that you and she were, seeing each other? He looked astonished, and then he laughed until tears were running down his cheeks. Good one, he finally gasped, his laughter subsiding. Where did you hear that? From her ex-boyfriend, I said. She told him that she was seeing an older guy, a sugar daddy. We thought it might be you, sugar, fairy dust. He shook his head. If she was seeing someone older, it wasn't me, man. It would have been someone special, though. The girl was full of life. Damn shame what happened to her. Poor kid. But you knew her, I persisted. Didn't she tell you if she was seeing someone? He shrugged. I thought she might have been seeing more than one someone, he said. Really? He shrugged again. Kids these days, they just want to live. Right thing if you ask me. They're not thinking about anything serious, not at her age. I don't think the guys she was seeing would have been saying that. They'd have been jealous. She was so beautiful. You don't see many girls like her. He nodded. Yep, the boys might have wanted more, but I don't think she did. She told me she was holding out for something special, and she was determined to find it here in Brimstone Bay, the place where magic comes to play. I nodded. It made sense. Lily might have liked Oberon, but it seemed she'd known better than to think she could have a long-term future with a dampire. A witch and a vampire? People would have made their lives too hard. He took a long drag of his pipe and then hiccuped. He giggled as he watched a purple bubble gently float up and away. Whatever was in it was clearly making him happy. You want some? He asked me, offering the pipe. I shook my head. He giggled again. Yeah, you've been getting fairy dust of a whole different kind over there in Dell's cafe. That Dale always was good at her thing. Heck, if she'd sold it in powder form, I'd have been selling it out here day and night. Selling what exactly? Said a commanding voice. I turned around in horror. Agent Constantine was glaring at the both of us. Even Beachbum must have been shocked because both of our hammocks fell straight out of the air. We landed with a crash on the sand. Damn, boy, said Beachbum, getting up and lazily patting the sand off himself. You near half scared me to death. This old ticker ain't what it used to be. He patted his chest. You're not sick, are you, dude? I asked in concern. Not if I can help it, said the dude. He dropped down on the sand to sit cross-legged beside me. By his grin, I knew that he had decided to stay down here to annoy Agent Constantine, who did not look like he wanted to sit down and join us. This left him towering over us, glowering like the adult in the group. I couldn't help but take a leaf out of Beachbum's book and start giggling. Chris looked suspiciously at me, as if I might have been partaking of a certain perfumed pipe. I bit my lip to stop my laughter. How can we help you, officer? I said. Beachbum and I were now shaking with the effort of holding our giggles in. You can tell me where you were on the night that Lily Silverswift was murdered, he said. You know where I was, I said. Not you, he ground out. Him. He has a name, I said. Yes, sirree, said Beachbum. And that's Beachbum to you. Agent Constantine glared. Beachbum and I started laughing again. Are you going to tell me where you were? Said Agent Constantine, sounding very stiff indeed. Or am I going to have to drag you into the station for questioning? Beachbum looked at me. What do you reckon, Pinkwitch? Shall we talk to Chief Hardwick's man? This new chief ain't to my liking, you know. Chief Rain knew what was what. Not sure I like Officer Ruffety-Tuffety here much either. I covered my mouth to cover my peals of mirth. Ruffety-Tuffety! What a beach bum thing to say! Agent Constantine was glaring at me, a muscle in his jaw ticking like he had just about had enough. He's okay, I think, I managed to choke out. Beachbum nodded as if my word was good enough for him. In that case, officer, pull up a pew. Beachbum pointed down at the sand. Agent Constantine stubbornly continued to stand. Or not, Beachbum shrugged. He scratched his head. On that night, I was, let's see. First, I was here hosting one of Beachbum's famous pit parties. You can ask anyone. He waved vaguely in the direction of the people gathered around the roaring flames. Fire pit, you know. The kids like it, and I like the kids. I don't think you should say that, I told him. It sounds a bit wrong. Beachbum fluttered his hands at his chest and opened his eyes wide. What? Me? No! Scourgify your filthy mind. Hey, I objected. I haven't got a filthy mind. If you say so, he said. I do say so, I said. Are you two done acting like children? Said Agent Constantine. Yes, sir, Sergeant, sir, I said, saluting him. He scowled. I smiled. If you'd have been nice to me earlier, I said, I was going to tell you all about Sugar Daddy and everything. He glared. You be quiet. You and I are going to have words after this. I pressed my lips together and pretended to zip them up. Beachbum and I exchanged a glance and both tried not to laugh. Continue, said Agent Constantine stiffly to Beachbum. Beachbum scratched his head again. Then I left the beach, he said. What time? I don't know what time, man, said Beachbum. Sometime late, say 4 or 5 or 6 hours after sunset. Agent Constantine looked disgusted at this vagueness. Was it 4 or 5 or 6? He bit out. I don't know, man. Something like that. Where'd you go? Agent Constantine said. Club Nocturne, where the big boys and girls play, said Beachbum, looking very pleased with himself. Agent Constantine frowned. Club Nocturne? You? Yep, said Beachbum. I got a personal invite from Oberon Malte Jr., and you know his daddy owns that joint. Agent Constantine's eyes narrowed. Are you saying that you saw Oberon Jr. at Club Nocturne that night? Sure. They were here at my party first, then they wanted to go to the club, so we went. Who is they? Said Agent Constantine. All of them. The usual crew. Oberon, Lily, the Hardwick boy, the Snooty twins. I partied with them, man. They aren't so bad once they chill out a bit. It was fun. The look on Agent Constantine's face had darkened. Is that your official statement? That you parted with Oberon Lily, Lorcan Hardwick, and Petra and Paolo Ambers in Club Nocturne on the night that Lily Silverswift died? Yep, and it was fun too. I must have left sometime after midnight. I can't take too much of that place, man. Too many wired folks everywhere. It's not my scene. And were they still there after you left? Said Agent Constantine. Beachbum nodded. Yep, they were going strong. All of them? Yep, all of them. Name them, Agent Constantine said, his pen held ready. Geez Louise. What you said before, man? Beachbum repeated the names. I watched Chris Constantine's face throughout this exchange. You didn't know, I said. He frowned at me as if he wanted me to shut up, but I continued. You didn't know that they were there. So what happened? Did they tell you that they were here at the beach and then they all went home alone? They never mentioned the club part? This had been a total guess on my part, but I could tell by the look on his face that I had hit on the truth. Weird, I said. Why wouldn't they tell you that bit then? Agent Constantine glared at me and Beachbum. He pointed at Beachbum. You, come into the police station tomorrow morning and make an official statement, he said. Sure thing, man, said Beachbum. Agent Constantine pointed at me, and you come with me. He didn't wait for me to follow his instructions. He leaned down to grab me by the arm and hoist me up. Hey, you're ruining my vibe, I told him. I'll ruin more than your vibe, he threatened. I chuckled. Just being out here had put me in such an inexplicably good mood that it was impossible to take his threat seriously. Ooh, I said, I bet you say that to all the ladies. He scowled. But it would come across better if you cracked a smile when you said it, I said. We must have gotten far enough away from the other people for his satisfaction, because he suddenly rounded on me. Did you think for a minute that he could have been dangerous? My mouth dropped open. Who? Beachbum? Yes, that Beachbum. He looked disgusted. Ew, what have I told you about being snooty? I've known Beachbum a long time. He's all right. And what did I tell you about staying away from my suspects? Whoa! How was I supposed to know that he was one of your suspects? You as good as said that you did. Oops, I said, unable to resist goading him. Don't play games with me. A girl is dead. I know she is, officer, I said more somberly. I found her, and I want to know what happened to her as badly as you do. I don't care what you want, he said. I will tell you this for the last time. You stay out of my case. Whoa, I said. What's the problem? Are you afraid of a little competition? He must have really not known what to say, because he threw up his hands in frustration and then stalked away. Hey, I called after him. Am I still a suspect? Hey, this is the end. Comment, you'll thank me later, to confuse everyone who hasn't reached this part of the story yet. Thanks for playing along.